Okay, these Clarity vase in these individual little tray, they're all attached together, which is really great because so often you want to do these multiple components, but then you do it and then you can't carry it together. So this has made it very, very handy for us to do this kind of component designing. They do come in 3 different colors: the gray, the sort of the ochre yellow, gold, and the black. And what I've done here is used glittered Middlino, which is a little bit thicker, which is what you need when you do anything angular like that, where you want the bend, but you don't want the curvilinear. We want to use something that's a little bit thicker. So the glitter Middlino is really exactly the right thing. Now, the reason why I decided to do the angular versus circular, this vase actually has those both options, because if you would look closely at the shape of the vase, it has a curvilinear. So it is possible, if you want to do this curvilinear, you can do this and it coordinates to this part of the vase, but you could also do this to coordinate to this part of the vase. So I'm actually being inspired by the more angular part of this particular vase. So I'm going to go ahead and create the armature that's going to allow me to design a design such as the one that you see here. And so in doing so, I'm just going to start out by just bending like this. And it's bending and actually breaking, but not breaking completely. And I'm going to take this and break this like this, so that you still keep the fiber that's in there to hold it together. So that way I could start by creating this. Now this, you don't need to, it just take a couple of pieces before you could start to make this sort of stand up. So what I'm going to do is start by adding this piece, and I'm going to tie this together. In fact, maybe I should go ahead and do this as well. These two together, like this. And I'm just going to do a quick twist on this one so that it's a little bit faster. And allow this to go back in there. Wait a minute here. We're going to have to pull that back. And then with this one, I'm going to maybe go to the back. It's really just a very random placement. The important thing is don't just go back and forth, because it creates a very flat piece. We want it to have dimension, so we want to make sure that we create that. So I'm going side by side and then front to back is sort of the direction that I'm sort of following. So I'm going to add this. I'm going to go more to the back and come back in. By doing this, I'm adding on, I'm trying to avoid it to look like a star. You know, these are some of the things as you're creating these kind of pieces, it starts to look like something. When that happens, you gotta stop it, because you don't really want anybody, your customer or otherwise, people saying, oh, that looks like a teddy bear, or that looks like a cloud, or because then you're starting to make object, and I think that's really not the way to go with these armature. You want it to be a little bit more abstract and a little bit more kind of artsy rather than looking like a shape. And I really do think this is starting to look like a star. So let's kind of kill that for a moment here by adding on another piece. And I think the reason why it looks like a star is because it has those points. So let's actually go and add a piece that takes away that point. So if we do this, then it takes away the star. And let's see, this brought back and attached to this. The key is that you're constantly attaching to another point, because that's what makes and builds these armatures. Piece came out, not to be alarmed. So if we start with this, and we then are going to use the flowers to keep this all in. This is sort of the key, that if you take a piece of a stem, then you can start to make things stay in place. After you complete the structure so that it's fairly stable, but to stabilize it further, you don't want to keep adding and adding and adding so that it becomes really busy. You want to leave it open enough so that you can then thread your product, your flowers through. And that usually tightens up the design really very nicely. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start taking some of these, the product, and this is whale back that's been split. And I'm gonna bring that over, and now you're gonna thread it through, because this is what's gonna make it even more stable. So, and this makes it stand up better. This other piece of whale back, maybe I'm gonna bring it from the back and over. And I'll show you just in one moment what this looks like. And then I'm gonna finish it off. I'm gonna keep it really simple, finish it off by adding a bromeliad into that one and that one. So this is kind of what it becomes like this. Just real simple, 2 flowers in the foliage.